So you're expecting a Tristana and a Corki at some point, especially with the Yone now gone as well. Kanavi, I wonder if the answer is to have something that can be more active in the very few early levels of the game, because someone like Zyra can't really impact the game at that point, especially in not the same way as the Leona did for Tarzan in that last game, and of course throughout the group stage as well. The last few games from Tarzan were absolutely disgusting. Leona has been incredibly potent though, wouldn't surprise me to see that locked in, and then we get the trade of the AD mid laners after.
I do actually want to bring up an interesting conversation that the hover of Leona actually brings up here, as the Tristana is the one that locked in. JDG have found a lot of consistent strength by getting missing out on the map. The Enchanter setup, the 2v2 and bot side, didn't really enable that last game, and I feel like they were missing that a lot.
Oh, sure. I mean,
pun intended.
I mean, missing did try and roam into mid at some points, but how do you play a Karma from behind after you've lost lane? That champion is there to win you lane. So yeah, having that Leona, I think you're absolutely right to bring up the fact that missing wants to be out on the map. Hopefully you can combo up with Kanavi as well. Ezreal, Leona, not a bad laning duo because of the individual strength of both these champions. Ezreal also pretty good at kind of timing up with Leona's engage and being able to follow up with that. On the other side though, no Sejuani. The next best champion for Tarzan has been the brand. He will be an AP carry now, and this is pretty terrifying. He's a very good brand.
The speed of clear, but also the threat around the team fights, very scary. And the Renekton, speaking of scary, is going to be logged in for Bree, the classic for him. The Corki answered on the other side.
So AD mistraded, that's kind of the hallmark of LPL meta right now, unless they've been banned out. I am very interested now into what's going to happen in this top lane matchup, because Breathe has been one of those Renekton players which has played so dominantly through lane it justifies the pick. There aren't that many players which will play it very well. In regards to that, I think 369 is one of them, I think Bin is one of them, and I think Breathe is one of them. Those are the three players I look at the Renekton and say, yes, this is an impactful champion, you're likely winning lane, you're likely going through to mid game to do something with that. Sheer might have some of his champions taken away in regards to surviving that lane. There isn't that much which really does that much against Renekton early on right now. So they could also go towards jungle as well. But as we said, that top lane also likely to get taken out.
And Weibo, honestly, off the back of that one, feeling very confident in Breathe over Sheer. And I like the fact that they were exuding that confidence by just blind picking the Renekton there. Because I will say Sheer got handled pretty heavily. One of the first games that we've really seen him go down super heavily, at least one of them. Now the Braum is the final lock away against Crisp.
So Weibo, they don't have good engage right now. The other side has Leona, so they have engage. Leona is enough to guarantee that. That champion is really fair when it comes to that.
Results-based analysis.
So, well, no, that's not results-based analysis. That's just Leona is just the one-man engage machine. Just does so much work in that case. You're probably looking now at either Alistair or Rel for the side of Crisp. You don't have that big go button at the Sejuani on one side. I think JDG, as it stands, they probably can play towards hyper range. If they go towards this Tarzan Karthus, that would allow them to have 3 long-range carries with not a great amount of engage on the other side right now.
And Kanavi's going to be perfectly fine just taking a farming jungler as well. I think we've seen the Brand and Karthus matchup get a little bit more aggressive than others, but I'm really interested at what kind of pathing these two guys are going to take, especially after that first one. We also get that double marksman lock in here for Weibo as they get the Senna and the Ornn for Light and Crisp.
I like that lock-in of the Ornn an awful lot, because JDG, they don't well, before that lock-in, they didn't have to be that respectful of any of the engage coming in from Weibo, because it's like a flash Renekton and occasionally a brand stun. It's not that easy to land on very long-range carries like the Karthus, the Corki, and the Ezreal when they're playing at their maximum range. Weibo with that, it allows them to play towards an engage from the Ornn. It also allows them to put the center of the Ornn on an island if they want, and allow themselves to play towards potentially a dominant Renekton topside matchup. Sheer goes towards this Jax. He is a Jax specialist. It can be a good lane into that Renekton. It is Breathe's Renekton though, and if Tarzan gets to go towards topside, that Brand is very, very good at comboing up with the Renekton stun to get kills. I think this can also be a bit of a flipped game from what we saw in Game 1. Game 1 was all about bot side pressure, leave top side alone. I think Tarzan has all of his options now to go towards that. See if Weibo can bring this to a 2-0 and not even up the series.
And I love it too, because we have 2 pole engagers on each team. It's top and support for both of them. I really wonder how the early game is going to look, what the priority, because again, in Game 1, like, early game was so interesting, even though it was a little bit one-sided for Weibo, because of the priority that lanes were giving, and it enables play around Kanavi and Tarzan. That's what I expect more of going into Game 2 here.
So, JDG find themselves in a rare position where they have to bounce back. Who else but against Weibo? This team, they got to take after their namesake and not just tap. They got to tap. They got to double tap. Got to get that 2-0. JDG, they almost team fought their way back into that game one. That is the level we're expecting out of this Ascension group. JDG, it all lies on this game.
Love to hear both sides out in full force, but also now brings the question, oh, the ward. Oh, it's over. Oh, no. Okay. Ooh, Haas says he's a little sweaty there. I don't know. Scared he wasn't going to get the auto attack.
I am surprised that JDG didn't win. Did they get XP over to Yagao? There's a tiny bit. Okay, they did. They managed to share the XP. Bit. But the problem is they shared the XP between 4 members. They shared it between Kanavi, Yagao, Ruler, and Missing. The gold goes over to Kanavi. But the fact that I think you have to share it between 3 members or left to get the solo lane advantage when you hit level 2 off of that first one. They do, however, get another ward, and we don't have to worry about that at all. Wow, that's 2 wards taken.
Keep throwing wards, Weibo. Let's see what happens. Crisp is going to be a lot of trouble here. Yeah, that's a little bit of a late invade coming through. We'll get a little bit of support here as JDG don't really want to continue. They might actually just go for the red buff here.
But you can already see Chris has to blow his pop because he's going to get zoned out from that laning phase. Ruler and Missing, they're going to be benefiting from the fact that probably Weibo don't want to be forcing on towards bot side. They want to be forcing towards top side instead. It's easier to leave the center and that alone. Missing, buddy, you don't want to be going into over that. But it has the aftershock, so he gets a couple of resists. JDG, you get themselves a camp steal, but it's going to be matched by Tarzan on the other side.
We'll keep checking in on those 2 paths there, especially with it being a little bit opposite this time around and maybe some vertical jungling going through. Missing just wants to let Crisp know that he needs to pay for last game.
But what's really cool with that is, hang on, is he going to be able to get the smite? He doesn't have smite. And it resets. Okay, so he's not going to get the full quadrant. This means that Tarzan gets ahead in the individual jungle matchup. Kanavi slowed down at bare minimum. Might have himself, yeah, he should still be able to get this, I think, unless Light has himself a cheeky Q available. No, he doesn't. Just slowed down, not stopped.
A little bit of pumping of the brakes. Crisp is leaving himself out here under turret. Light is hovering nearby. Not going to be even close to level 2 just yet. He's only halfway to level 2. As Crisp's going to be the one to try to clear this wave out before it crashes so Kanavi can't get anything.
Yeah, so the thing is, when you have mid lane kind of even, Yagao's even getting a slight push right now. We'll see what happens with that one.
2.
I mean, yeah, this is a problem. No one's really coming down to help you.
Oh, the double knockback, though. Now Missing tanking the turret's going to have to flash. Light just there to watch his support go down. And that'll be first blood for JDG, maybe following it up with another one.
I was wondering, yeah, okay, there's the teleport coming through. I love how Ruler's been playing this with Missing. Gets the root, not going to be able to get that much follow-up beyond this point. But one of the big things about Leona in laning phase is getting that, that Sunlight passive down. Every time you hit with an ability, next time your ally damages a champion, they get the extra little buff on there. Every time Missing was going in for the level 1 Zenith Blade, Ruler was getting a skill shot right afterwards, starting to stack up that damage. That's what helped him get towards that HP amount, which made that dive very valuable and very easy to put through. JDG really monstering through the bot side of the map, and on the other side, Tarzan, he's got himself farming this first clear, but he's not impacted the lanes.
I do like that he immediately bolted down here to the bot side, realizing that Kanavi was on this side of the map, so he's probably going to try to get this double scuttle going for himself. Meanwhile, Kanavi going to be pathing up towards this top side of the map, and nothing else going to really come of it just yet. We do have objectives coming up here shortly, about a minute for the Dragon. See a little bit of priority maybe given that way, especially with the length of pathing that's going to be going towards top side and the amount of time we have till Dragon spawns.
Yeah, we're going to have both teleports coming in from mid laners soon, which means that they can get in for full HP for the objectives very early on. Need to see, something that you asked after game 1, is whether Missing can get himself out onto the map as well. Start impacting things. Don't just get locked into lane with that Karma. He's in a position to do so. Bot lane control has been established from JDG, particularly with Ruler getting that first kill. He's very, very happy with how things are going currently. So need to see what's going to happen. Both the Karthus and the Brand very, very quick at taking both objectives, both sides of the map.
And I think that Weibo definitely want to lean towards that grub spawn if they can get Light up there because you get the double bonus of Brand being able to clear it super fast, but you get all the souls for Senna as well. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition here because the push has been so hard to deal with on bot side now. We are eventually getting those TPs from mid laners out onto the map though. Dragon is spawned, no pressure that way, but Kanavi was looking at Breathe in topside, will be spotted out up there, so information gained by Tarzan.
Yeah, you can see that Sheer, he's trying to keep his passive up to get that extra attack speed, so if it does come through to a all-in, he'll have the extra stats for it. Breathe, just making sure that he's using that empowered Q whenever he can, and tries to get himself the big kind of heal through that. Sheer doing quite well in the early laning phase though. His Jack's very, very good. It's something that we've known right the way from Demacia Cup and through his games all the way through this year. Breathe, one of the best laners in the top lane in LPL right now, so the fact that Sheer holding him to just about even is notable, actually, in its own way.
Yeah, hey, you'll take that all day. And it's a stark difference from that game number 1 as well, where he was going down pretty heavily in that topside matchup in the end. Still had some good team plays, but yeah, the matchup itself was not going super well. Now JDG did push in bot side. They're gonna move Missing out on the map, and that's what we've been wanting to see this whole time.
Yagao taking a decent trade in mid lane, won't get the full bomb traded back onto him. Kanavi going to go towards that top side first, Missing out onto the map, exactly what we asked, but Tarzan off vision, might be up to get himself a stun.
He's got so much damage here, he's level 6, and now Kanavi burning a little bit. It will be a trade of the grubs so far, 1 for 1, but JDG cannot continue to fight, so Weibo will win out on that one.
And Ruler caught with a root under turret there is going to start eating some damage. He's happy to farm up here, but it's not like the center and the Ornn can't have kill threat onto him all the same. Missing roams out onto the map, can't make anything happen. Weibo walk away with decent trade onto Kanavi and also get themselves 2 grubs. Tarzan, we said that, hey, his Sodrani, great in game 1, but he's really found value on the Brand.
Ooh, threading the needle there by Ruler and Missing, able to get so much damage on the Light. Now Chris needs to be very careful. He's going to try to unstoppable out of that one, but Chris in trouble. The Zenith Blade under turret, and that's 2 quick kills for Missing, who traded his life right back over.
Missing the real carry, 2 and 1. Goes down under turret. There's no teleport though from Weibo. They will be losing themselves a bit of that wave under turret on the other side. Ruler and Missing. I love the way they're playing out this 2v2, using that Sunlight passive from Leona for all it's worth. Yagao jumping in mid lane. Xiaohu can't quite get him under turret.
Tries to get the angle, ends up flashing out of that bomb, and it was a good idea because I think Yagao getting a little bit of a win there could be difficult to deal with. Now Tarzan did clear out Kanavi's jungle, and now making a play on a Sheer who literally cannot move, and he is down after the flash comes out as well.
Okay, that's a big win for Weibo. They get the kill onto the Jax. The kill goes towards the Renekton so he can stay ahead of the matchup. And there's no teleport for the side of Sheer. They already took themselves the grub, so that means they get to kill the turret plates more quickly. Breathe, who is very, very good at taking advantages on the Renekton, just got himself a big lead.
Breeze showing up big here so far. The horn is sounded here. Double knockups. Not going to be able to follow it up with any CC from Weibo. Again, they only have engages through Crisp and Breathe in reality, but now maybe Tarzan trying to fight right back, going for the flash. Kanavi's answered right in return. A little bit of damage back too on the back, but Dragon still hasn't been taken. It's been all about these little tussles.
Yeah, everyone roaming across the map. Some fantastic little micro plays happening across there. Tarzan tried to go for the Q flash E, where you get the guaranteed stun, but Yagao was quick enough on his flash to not get caught up by that. You had the punish almost coming in from Chris. Close run stuff. Now fighting over the red buff, and here goes Missing.
True shot barrage in there. Ruler pretty strong, but the Pyroclasm, look how much damage it's doing. He doesn't have much to follow it up, and now Light has overextended himself. He's in the shroud, but it's not going to be enough. Ruler claims the kill here. 202 now. He's making good on that last Ezreal performance with the help of the Requiem. He'll claim a double kill.
Twice the kills, twice the pride in that one. They get themselves a huge play in bot side. That's probably going to open up the Dragon as well. As you're saying, it hasn't been taken even 9 minutes into the game. We are somewhat used to earlier Dragons coming through. This 2v2 of this Ezreal Leona has been utterly destructive from JDG. Love the way that they've been playing it out. Now with a 3-0-2 Ezreal, we might be seeing a vintage Ruler Ezreal performance. One of the ones which he really made his name on. It was in that era of kind of Korean Ezreal players. We had, Def, Bang, Ruler, all of these great players playing this champion. He had himself a pretty strong game in game 1. I don't really feel like it was his fault that the game went the way it did. This one, he might just be able to take it by the scruff of the neck. Love how Missing keeps, again, applying this mark over and over, makes it easier and easier to get the big damage through. I think Light really mispositioned us here, though. Tries to get himself that last hit. Tries to get himself that last tap onto Kanavi with that Q. He would have got that kill had he been just a little bit lower, but miscalculation from him, goes down, probably could have made his way out. Light, he's had a couple of them this series, sadly.
That's just one of those situations where you see the play in your brain, you're like, that's too good not to do. There's a soul there, I can use the Q to get the long range stuff. Oh wait, they're surrounding me. Get too invested into the schemes there.
Abort, mission failed.
But it's too late, the hatch is already closed. Now JDG will move back onto the map, though, with a little bit of contest from Weibo because grubs are up. They're going to try to just get the outright engage, Dawning Shadow used, but guess who's here? Breed, and he is a massive crocodilian. Might call him from the Jurassic Age here because he has not come to sit down. He's come to stand up, and he's going to breathe life into Weibo.
Oh my word, that is one hell of a Tyrant Crocodile on that top side. Gets himself a huge amount. Ruler does take one of the grubs though on the other side, stops the 5 coming through. It's still going to be the might buff coming through at the 4 mark, but still, JDG bit off a little bit more than they could chew. I thought Missing had found himself another great engage, but you took the fight too close to the Renekton. Has himself a Black Cleaver now in inventory. Breathe might just be able to go and accelerate into that mid lane with the advantages he's just got himself.
That's so massive. We could talk about Breathe a little bit. Maybe not the biggest splash into the season when he was picked up by Weibo. Maybe some question marks after seeing some of the rough games early on, but he has turned it up here, and especially against Sheer, who he confidently handled in the 1v1 in game 1. But in this game, he literally blind picked Renekton, and you can only do that when you're feeling oh so confident.
I have to say, I have been a Breathe apologist. I've been supporting this guy, because even when Weibo had that crap first round robin, it really felt like he was still stable, still doing so much impact in the team fights. And he gets right into a great position again. He gets himself onto the flank, gets himself onto an important target. Kanavi had blown his flash earlier, knows he has the just about enough mobility to get himself onto the key target. Getting these kind of kills is really, really scary for JDG because you've just lost yourself a big moment to potentially get yourself the big grub buffs, and you've just given gold over to a person who's very strong at this point in the game. You can outlast the Renekton, but it is very hard to do so when he has this much gold.
And I'll forgive you if you thought that this is how this matchup should go. JDG have literally strangleholded almost every opponent they faced against. They have had 10K leads across multiple series. And this is not the JDG we were expecting here in Group Ascend. This is the Weibo that maybe some true believers could see coming.
The thing is, you know, it's like, is this the JDG we expected, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot to say about that. I still think JDG are playing largely very well. It's just, look, I'm going to throw it this way. If you didn't expect Weibo to have their upsides, that's also a problem. You always expect their downsides because they're really, really visible. But you got to remember the upsides too. It was quite hard to see them in the group stage, but I mean, there's only so many times we can say it. The inconsistency of this team is legendary, but it's so goddamn entertaining when it comes to matchups like this. We just completely forget the fact that they have so many international title holders and great individual players that occasionally they play like it sometimes.
They do indeed. Now Sheer in some trouble. Breed actually might be able to go for a play up here. He isn't going to pull the trigger on that too heavily. But,
oh, Ruler?
Oh, no, Ruler. That's Pyroclasm into him. Dawning Shadow across it. Who is the one to pick it up but Crisp?
First death on Ruler. Shutdown goes the way of the Ornn. He'll be very happy with that one. And Ruler, gets picked off at a 1v3. The huge follow-up coming in from Weibo takes him down under that mid lane turret. Weibo, as much as they ended up losing a couple of those early kills, they're starting to come to life. Now ahead in gold. They have themselves the 4 grub buffs. Breathe has even more gold at this point. Forces Sheer away from his turret, which means he loses an extra wave. More plates go to the side of Breathe and Light shared out between them. JDG, we said they can maybe outlast the Renekton. Yeah, you have to still do that, though. You might be able to get to the point where you have the Karthus, Corki, the Ezreal doing huge amounts of damage, but you got to get there first, and now we get to have a look what happens in this mid lane.
Yeah, they just get the flash play.
Oh, he did it finally! He did it! He did the QE flash. Tried it earlier, failed it, but I love to see that. Great stuff.
And big gold over to Chris. But this is also something you have to bring into perspective here. Weibo barely slunk in, but all you had to do was make it to Group Ascent, and now they're here in a single round robin. They have JDG breathing out a potential loss for the first time in this entire summer split.
Oh, it would just be the way of things, wouldn't it? It's just another day at the Weibo office. So, Herald being started, Weibo, they have Flash and Dominus coming up on Breathe very soon. Has the Flash, Dominus in 5.
And try to get Yagao over there on the side. Sheer has a massive flank. Is it gonna be enough? The poke is there. Ruler starting to hit the Mystic shots. Rift Herald will be secured by JDG as Weibo not feeling super confident to move forward. They will have their tools available soon, but they don't have them now, at least the Dawning Shadow and the Call of the Forge God. There's the Solar Flare used on top of the True Shot Barrage, so now JDG don't have a lot of tools left in their disposal as well.
Yeah, really good poke there. Does mean that JDG can maybe get themselves some control over mid and top lane. The shape of that fight was just all wrong for Weibo. I think it's good that they don't commit to that. You need Breathe on an angle. You don't want to go straight down the front and center of these fights, otherwise it's far too easy to deal with that Renekton, even when he is this strong in the game. So Weibo, for once, showing that discretion is the better part of Valor. They don't always do that. And JDG, well played by them to make sure that they stop Weibo getting, getting that kind of ideal team fight where Renekton can get huge value. They get themselves that Herald and they get out.
We also got the real version of what we were talking about earlier, the triple Triforce completed for JDG across Yagao, Ruler, and Sheer. There are some pretty big item spikes. I think those Trinity Forces are obviously pretty big for JDG as well.
Should we just call this like the, I don't know, the Link team composition? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to throw a Legend of
Mine
Zelda
was
reference in there
worse.
somewhere.
I'll take the L on that one.
I don't quite have myself a good pun. I don't quite have myself like a good enough pun for that. It could be like Legend of Zelda, like Triforce Princess, but even that's a bit of a stretch. Well, look, we'll workshop it. We'll get back to it at some point.
Our people will get back to your people.
They have so many swords right now. That's all you got to care about. There's some really big item spikes for them. The Liandry's as well on Kanavi are going to really help him cut through the HP builders of... well, actually, even the Brand is a HP builder. The Liandry's obviously an HP item. We'll go towards the Liandry's. 3 targets, which are going to be building up a decent amount of that. Get himself the Rylai's afterwards. He'll be very, very happy. Well, not the Rylai's for... Well, that'll be for the Brand. Kanavi, once he gets himself Malignus after that point, he can start really impacting these team fights.
Sheer, I thought maybe would be on par with some of the fighting against Breathe now. Breathe obviously still taking control of that one. There will be the ultis popped by both sides up there. Rift Herald spawned in mid lane by JDG as they take onus and priority.
So, this is going to be a chunk onto the driving test. He gets it. Okay, it is a bit of a
good.
slalom.
He can do turn. Parallel parking right there. He does get locked down immediately out of it, though. True Shot Barrage back across onto Tarzan. Not going to do too much there. More souls for Light in the end. The Dragon is up. Would be second Dragon for JDG as Sheer tries to push Breathe out of lane.
Yeah, Sheer is getting to the point where he can start again throwing his weight around. Breathe has Flash, has himself on the flank. Doesn't have Dominus. Dragon's already gone.
They just burned it so fast there as well. They are getting mid lane push for Weibo. Call of the Forge God's coming out from Crisp. Who's going to go for it? It's Kanavi. Sheer's on the side here, but not committing to the flank. Xiaohu just took an entire mid lane turret, too.
That's important. Mid lane out of turret, again, makes the game much easier to play. It means that when you play around objectives later, or even just in the jungle, gives you that extra entrance to walk up further into that and get into the jungle in different ways. Weibo, they lose themselves that Dragon, but we did see earlier, Dragon hadn't been taken that early into the game. This is not an early soul point being taken up. It is going to be that Cloud Rift, which, I think Cloud Rift is... dubstep exhaust. But yeah, Cloud Rift, I think Cloud Souls, particularly when you have less mobile champions like the Brand and even the Renekton, right, it really helps them to have that, and of course it means when it's against them, you get to kite them that much easier. So Cloud Soul, I think it's quite valuable in this sort of game. So JDG, we will work their way towards it, even if it's slower.
I love the Breeze just trying to see, are you gonna stop? Are you gonna stay around? No? No, nothing else gonna come of it. But I think when we look at this, it's been back and forth so far, maybe a little bit more than the early game was last time around for JDG, but this is also a composition for both sides that I feel like are confident and comfortable going to later games, going to those big objective decisions, because you look at JDG's side, right, and they'll have so much long-range damage, they'll be able to take you off the board without you even thinking about it.
They do have less front line, so they do need to be careful about that. We are going to reach a point where Tarzan might just choose that someone doesn't exist. He is going to remove your existence privileges. It's almost at that point, honestly.
Snap?
Yeah, kind of at that point. You are very much going to be turning to dust, or in this case more ash, I guess. But Tarzan, once he gets that 2-3 items, it is so hard to fight against the Brand, especially when you have the low-range engage members of Sheer and Missing. If they get caught up in the front line, it is an absolute barbecue. So Tarzan gets to potentially show off on the Brand, which he's looked very, very confident on throughout summer so far. However, on the other side, though, you do still have the Renekton. Yes, you're going to have a very strong brand. That Renekton is going to lose value like Force to Cleanse.
Get the cleanse out from him, and that might be revisited. And he still will have the flash available to him later on. It looks like JDG is going to move over towards this top side of the map, get some vision around here. Baron will be spawning soon. Not necessarily an immediate Baron take composition. Tarzan was debating if he wanted to stop or maybe help this mid lane as the collapse is going to be coming in from JDG.
So I think JDG will probably have spotted that Tarzan. Oh, this is a problem. He was just recalling on a ward. He didn't realize it. JDG, they know that top side is okay. They know that they're okay to go towards this. I was even wondering if they go towards a Baron Rush, if they'd managed to piece together that he was recalling.
Crisp is like
Xiaohu.
running here. He's like, bro, I'm on my way. Rocket Jump will get Xiaohu out, though, easily, as the turret is now the ire of JDG. They won't be able to get it on the back end of it. So actually, Weibo move out to try to punish JDG as they try to retreat here. And Ruler's going to end up getting the arcane shift over the wall and burn the flash.
Again, Tarzan with these QE stuns, really slick stuff. Gets Ruler's flash out, a good amount of HP, but have they overextended?
Sheer didn't get the counter-strike off, but he's looking for it onto Tarzan. Tarzan gets the Pyroclasm going, and now Breathe is in there like swimwear as the Dawning Shadow comes out. The Requiem is actually pretty big here. Ruler still kicking, still able to do damage. Nobody goes down, and damage apiece for both teams.
No one dies, but that's a whole lot of flashes. 4 down for JDG, 4 down for Weibo. You can even see that Chris was switched over to the Spike Teleport, the classic Ornn spellbook summoner rotation. Really close stuff. You could see that Weibo, they managed to get that initial punish off, but they, and again, Tarzan, his mechanics on this brand have been really slick in this game. He's one of the best brand players within the LPL so far, but they do overextend. This is after his cool mechanics. I don't even get to see that in slow motion. Goes a little too far, missing. He's got himself this Leona. He's been playing so well at getting onto key targets in this game. The Pyroclasm's not great, doesn't get a multi-bounce onto anyone, but it's still enough damage to get that passive ticking, and Breathe very nearly takes over again. We're starting to see, though, that Renekton isn't really going to be that tanky and can't quite one-shot in the people in the way that he would like to. We are getting towards the end of Renekton's power.
So interesting how much reservation both teams are willing to give. Maybe a little bit of respect there, not go full ham and give bodies over. Now we are getting second items. Navori Flicker Blade for Xiaohu. Got the Malignance completed for Kanavi. Weibo over on top side of the map here, hovering over Breathe as well.
Also worth noting, Light only at 67 stacks. I think losing lane early really hurt the ability to get those double taps, which you can sometimes use to get those stacks through. We normally expect in pro play to get about 100 stacks around about 22, 23 minutes. If it's a little slower, it goes towards about 24. That's probably what we're on pace for at this moment. Light not going to be as long range as you would like to. And in a game like this, when there's a lot of long range members, you'd like that Breathe in trouble on the side lane.
He's going to try to slice and dice his way out of that one. Buying time for Weibo to come in. Crisp is TP'd. There's the long distance engage. Tarzan locked down, but Breathe has already claimed one. Kanavi is perfectly fine with that, though. He's putting in damage here now, but that Pyroclasm is raining hellfire on the back line. And Weibo, they come out with a Kanavi kill, which might just mean
down.
a Baron buff.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, Crisp even has his own smite. You have double smite versus none. That's absolutely overkill. JDG, I don't think they can contest. This is going to be gone by the time they teleport in.
Desperation from JDG. They will not be able to stand to Weibo's Tempo Gaming. They end up trying to take this outer tower in mid lane, but they might just get collapsed on. They will find their turret and make a way out. They have to be in sync on this, though, because Breathe and Tarzan and Xiaohu are chasing them down.
Okay, so JDG, they could go towards that dragon, but they can't because Weibo are going to use those 4 grubs and the Tristana to force open this mid lane. They go for the engage.
Breathe engaged on. Got a lot of damage back, though. Tarzan able to claim down with the help of Xiaohu onto missing. We do have some decent poke coming off the back of it, though, for Yagao. He goes forward. Valkyrie is down. Almost gets CC'd out by Tarzan as well. Nothing else, though, but Tarzan will move to the dragon and deny the soul point from JDG.
So many of these fights are being determined by very small micro things. I think Tarzan getting these catch-out stuns is leading to the passive, causing JDG to really scatter. They can't stand in the same position. And Weibo, while they end up, getting ran around at some points, they do end up getting themselves a really big phase of play. And once again, JDG, they are on the back foot. 2 games in a row now where Weibo have been able to really use their points of power effectively. I think that Breathe We said that the Renekton was coming to the end of its power. Gets another good team fight here at the end of this. Breathe, yes, he is alone on the side lane at this point, but he is still tanky enough, especially with the Sterix in as well, to not get one shot. He knows his job here. Don't go too far. Wait for reinforcements. Then go in to follow up on something else. Kanavi absolutely blasted. Kanavi, you know, we've talked him up. He is one of the very best players in the league right now. Weibo have held him to account magnificently. He's not been able to team fight very effectively on these AP carries. The Zyra in the last game had a lot of good turnaround damage. Couldn't be the game decider. This time on the Karthus has been punished for his positioning an awful lot.
And I maybe it's a little bit reading into it too much, but I am so used to Kanavi this split being on active junglers. Yes, AP, fine, whatever. But junglers that want to press, want to invade, want to stranglehold. We've seen Zyra, we've seen this Karthus not work out because you don't have that same backing power yourself.
In fact, the one game they lost to TT was on that Karthus as well. The one game in group stages.
I'm just saying, there's little things that are starting to culminate in something maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe it's just enough for these top teams to exploit in a good day. And the Baron buff of Xiaohu. He's, of course, was spotted out technically because the Baron buff was on the wave. JDG would have known that he was in one of those brushes. He goes back, has himself teleport, get himself onto the map, almost at that bloodthirst. So Tarzan again, these stuns are so obnoxious.
He's just finding everything, and now the Pyroclasm was doing some extra damage there at the end onto Sheer. They'll take a tier 2 at topside, still about 20 seconds on the Baron buff. They will end up backing out because of that, but they have gotten a 5,000 gold lead now off a game that was so neck and neck for the longest time.
You know, I thought that Shun was the best brand within the LPL, and he is really, really good. I think I'm changing my mind now. Tarzan is so damn good at this champion.
Put some respect on this man's name.
Yeah, I think
care
Tarzan,
what the community says.
Yeah, I know there was some, you know, the first round robin I think turned a lot of people against Tarzan, but honestly, the amount of work he's been doing is fantastic. Again, look at this. Gets himself the E, predicts to the Q, gets the stun as he tries to leap strike, gets himself the full combo. Look, we just get to visit this guy's combos. The guy's really good at this champion. I love watching on this. And he's not even just limited to this anymore. Showed a great game in Sejuani. Great game on the brand now as well. Tarzan's back, baby.
Again, this man was the pillar of LNG for all those runs, and now he's making it known that he is here to give Kanavi a run for his crown. Breathe, taking Kanavi out by himself there with the help of Chris. Requiem, maybe for a dream, maybe for the moment here. JDG, they want to move forward, but they just can't against Weibo's comp in these choke points.
Okay, yeah, Kanavi is public enemy number 1. He is being engaged on every single time. Chris even gets himself the flash predict with the second part of the ult there. Stylish stuff from the Ornn. And JDG, you know, we were coming into today saying, well, realistically, they should be favorites, but it's Weibo, so how do you ever realistically predict a series with Weibo insert? And we've shown exactly why it's so hard to predict what the hell's going to go on with this team. Consistently inconsistent to a T, and we see the best part of that today. They've looked really coordinated, they have zeroed out their targets very well, their team fighting's been sublime, and I really think that the grouped members of Weibo are on the same page for the first time this split, it feels like. It's taken a lot of series. The flash predict, stylish. Would have to flash away from the Renekton all the same, but just go straight into the Ornn ultimate. Sad stuff for Kanavi. Has just not been able to find himself in position. JDG dead too.
They are caught unawares, and everybody's falling. This is not the JDG that we've seen all split long. And Weibo have maybe made them imposters here as Missy's gonna fall. And in this first series of Group Ascend for both these two teams, Weibo have achieved absolute dominance.
Only Weibo could do this. Only this team could show up and just say, right, okay, we feel like a top-tier team now after just about slinking their way in through the back door to this upper group, to the Ascension group. They have ran roughshod through JDG in the second game. First game was close. It was a great team fighting back and forth. It was high-level play from both teams, and I do think that JDG had a good early game, but as soon as things started working out for Tarzan and particularly for Breathe, the top side from JDG just couldn't really stand place. Tarzan, once again, fantastic damage, sets up for the reset. Breathe doesn't get himself stuck in like a 1v3 or 1v4 where Renekton can struggle in the late game. It's a series of 1v1s, which really works out for the Tristana, it works out for the Renekton. JDG, they're way too split on the map. They're slow to react to this, just like this again.
Ruler, able to get out, still has his summoners available. But it's also, the thing about JDG is, if you're a JDG fan, it's not one singular moment, it's not one singular player. It's multiple moments compounding into these magnificent losses. And it's really just a couple things. Breathe has had Sheer's number literally all series long. Missing didn't have much of an impact on the Enchanter in game number 1. It's a little bit too little too late. And we're going to see if Baron, a flip here, is enough to get them back in the game. Breathe. That T-Rex has come back from the jungle, and he's hungry, boy. As he's going to take one down. Requiem coming across Dawning Shadow to try to save a lot of the damage down from it. They do end up getting the one kill off the back of it. Now they'll move mid.
Oh, King of the Lizards, king of the top lane for this game at least. I'm really excited to see what Breathe can do against the top tier competition on this level of form. Sheer, he dumpstered his way through the group stage, especially in the laning phase, but Breathe has really not allowed him to play the game. He's not allowed Kanavi to play the game either, honestly. He's been taking more than just one name off. 7-0-4, making the Renekton look powerful. So many teams have tried to make this kind of composition work, so few have succeeded. Weibo really turning up to play today.
From so long ago with the call-up to the OMG squad, to the year on WE, to the trade situation with Billy and RNG, he has finally found a home with peers at Weibo, and he's making it known that he is here to take charge. He's on top side now, getting an inhib turret. Meanwhile, tier 2 in mid is going down, and Ruler might just get caught out in the end. He's almost down, ends up burning both, at least his Arcade Shift and his barrier. Tarzan in a little bit of trouble now, too. Sheer wants it. Sheer really wants it, and he's going to get it. He gets the one kill back. Breathe able to fight right back with him, though. Again, you're stepping to the king of the dinosaurs here, and there ain't no stepping to him. He's going to chop down all over that all day. As the inhib turret and topside goes down, JDG are running for the hills here.
Tarzan goes down, but it is still at a worthy cost for Weibo. They get themselves a kill onto Missing. They're going to get themselves at least that top inhibitor and a couple of turrets to boot. Weibo, this is not going to be the end of the game, but like it often is in these sorts of games, though the other team survives, at what cost? Can they fight their way back into it? Feels so unlikely with the amount of gold which Weibo built over. It's over a 10k advantage. You were mentioning earlier, JDG were doing this on the daily in their own group. Last stage of it, getting 10k gold leads against all of their opponents. Well, this is the nature of the LPL format now. Get all of the top teams against each other, all of the bottom teams against each other, and it should lead to closer games. I think in the first game, we saw that. But JDG, who couldn't, it felt like they couldn't get rocked in that group stage. They just have been dealt with so far. They get themselves killed back onto Tarzan, but look how much they have to commit to this. She has to flash for it. They lose themselves an inhib turret at the same time. Missing still dies. You know, they force so hard for one kill, and it's not even a winning fight.
God, the Ornhorns for Crisp have been so deadly.
Would you like worse news? I've got worse news for you.
All right,
there are Orn items, so you look at that gold lead on the top. And basically, we add on about 1,000 gold for every other item in there. That's another 2,000. So not only is that about a 10,000 gold lead, it's more like 12,000. And particularly with the items you start to upgrade as well, those stats start to ramp up really, really nastily. JDG, it doesn't get easier from here.
And we've talked about it time and time again how Weibo can just kick things off so easily. Solar Flare can be used, but the turret is the focus from Weibo here. And you only have to do this once. I cannot stress enough. You do not have to face JDG again, and you're about to take a 2-0, and it looks like that's the case. The engage comes through, Tarzan kicking everything off. A Requiem, but a silent night for JDG. His Breathe is all the way under Nexus turrets. He's not going down either. True Shot Barrage, a last-ditch effort from Ruler, and he's the only one left. Weibo doubters be damned. This team means business.
Weibo Gaming, this is the only team that can slink into the Ascension group and somehow then roar to life against top-tier opposition. Weibo Gaming, everybody, consistently inconsistent, 2-0 on the day, and looking so good doing it. I think that so many players deserve shout-outs. I think Tarzan, for all of the critics he's had, from the first round robin especially, but for the entirety of group stage, it felt like people were glancing at him out with a side eye and saying, okay, but You know, is he really good enough? Is he just in that form he had in that, you know, that one series they had versus T1 last Worlds? No, he's really come back with style. I think Tarzan's been fantastic. I think Breed's laning phase and his ability to walk through these skirmishes is continuing to ramp up and up as well. Not to mention the fact that Xiaohu, a player which you've also criticized so much, is no longer being that player which doesn't contribute to these fights. He's being part of that march forwards. He's putting down good damage. This whole team is starting to match up and step up to the line which we've asked for them the entire year.
And I'll just say it outright, my first feeling from that is that was a lot of uncharacteristic JDG moments from what we've seen so far this split. And a little bit exposed, definitely by Weibo, but question marks abound for JDG. Missing, obviously, having the mask on. Maybe he's not feeling so great, but it definitely felt like there was